we have the big head coach, Dave Cicchini, joining us. Coach, I tell you what, you knew it was going to be a tough game. That's how it's been against VMI. It proved to be another tough one, didn't it?
Yeah, and we talked about all week with our team. We knew this was going to be a team that would not quit. Didn't matter if we got up by 28 or if we got up by 1. They were going to play 60 minutes of tough, hard-nosed football, and they did. They did just that. I mean, my hat's off to them.
You and I had talked earlier this week, and you said the way Coach Rocco loves to play defense is he's going to bring guys at all different areas and make you make plays. Bucknell had some negative plays, but a lot of positive ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to have that 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of mentality when they do as many different fronts and stunts and blitzes as they do. But the big plays are there. And, I think it was a great job by Drew Fulmer, our offensive coordinator. I told him, stay aggressive. And the final touchdown, Milligan's 4th touchdown of the game was a great call because we knew they were vulnerable with these deep shots. And we had so many explosive plays today because, of their gambling type nature. And so you're exactly right. There was unfortunately a lot of negative plays, sacks, and negative runs, but we were able to counter that with so many explosive plays.
When you take a look at what you want from a receiver, Coach Costatino, brand new first-year wide receivers coach, like all wide receivers coaches, says get the ball at the highest apex. On certainly that last touchdown by Milligan, he was able to do that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was like a man amongst boys. He was doing a great job. He's fast enough to run by people, but he's so big that if you just put the ball in the same area code as him, he's going to go up and get the football. And he's shown that time and time again. Really started last year about a third of the way through the season, and it's continued. And his impact is not just solely just restricted to offense. He does a great job on special teams. Don't forget he's a first-team all-conference special teams player as well.
And last week I know Bucknell won by 11 at Marist, but it was still a tight game. How much did that help this team here when it became a tie game with the last 5.5 minutes?
Yeah, I think the confidence was there. This was such a different football game because not only were we battling, a tough VMI foe, but the rash of penalties, self-inflicted wounds that we gave to ourselves. I mean, our guys were playing too hard. They were countering that by playing, and their level of physicality got to the point where they were hitting guys after the whistle. A couple of them were very borderline type calls, but unfortunately, that includes the one targeting with Brandon Biagirelli, so he's going to have to sit for the first half against Lehigh. So really disappointing that when we got to the fourth quarter, we didn't have quite as much poise. The confidence was there, but the poise was lacking.
Over 100 yards in terms of penalties, but it was VMI that had the huge penalty on that last offensive drive and then the low snap. But when you're under pressure like that, you never know how people will respond, right?
Yeah, and they were throwing flags on both teams, and sometimes you don't agree with some of the subjective calls, but on the whole, they called a fairly respectable game. They've certainly missed some. It's, I can't expect our players to be perfect. I don't expect the officials to be perfect either, but it just was too many, it's understandable when you have, a play that happens because, you're just slightly over aggressive, but a lot of our hits were way after the whistle, and it wasn't just on defense, it was on special teams as well.
What about Zach Corna? Got his first career start. I know he's played some in those first couple of games, but wow, when he needed to step up, he came up big, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and he was having a rough day. He took, got beat a couple of times and missed some opportunities at picks, but we asked a lot of him here today. A lot of injuries in that defensive secondary, and he played pretty well in the first 2 contests, albeit in limited playing time, and he played an awful lot of snaps for us today. And I know he's got a lot of those he'll look at and say and just kind of cringe, but hey, welcome to college football. That's life of a starter. You're out there, and he's a really good player. He's talented. He's got high football IQ, and he's got a great career ahead of him for us.
Didn't appear that there were any injuries, any that you know about?
No, I mean, some minor things. Guys went down, but on the whole, it appears that we came out of this relatively injury-free. A little bit of cramping here and there, but I think, physically it was a very physical game in really all 3 phases, but I think we came out in much better shape than VMI did.
I noticed that even one of the officials was cramping at one point. This may have been the hottest game of the three that Buckdale has played up to this point.
Yeah, it was 81 degrees, and when that sun was out, there was very little wind. The humidity was decent. I appreciate the stadium lights staying turned off. If they would have brought that up, maybe it would have jacked it up to 82, but they did a great job of keeping those off. And it was a tough contest. And I'll be honest, we were in better shape than VMI as well. That showed itself, particularly in that 2-minute drive at the end of the first half. We didn't get a chance to really get into a lot of the going fast the second half. VMI did a great job of keeping our offense off rhythm. And then by the time we would get into rhythm, we weren't interested in going fast. We were going really slow. So, I'm proud of the conditioning. I wouldn't have said that 2 weeks ago, that we were in great shape. I do think right now that we are in full football shape, and we've kind of arrived at when it comes to conditioning standpoint.
Win's always better than a loss, but how important was this win heading into the first league game against last year's champ Lehigh?
Yeah, I think it's great. We've got a good win streak here. We have 3 more home games in a row, 3 tough opponents to play, and starting with, arguably what could be the biggest game of the season, the team to beat, the team that's preseason favorite, and right now in the top 10, I believe, in the top 25. It's going to be a really big challenge, but we'll put together a great game plan and hopefully get a couple injured guys back. And we've always seemed to show up and give Lehigh everything that they can handle. And I expect nothing less from our team this week.
Does that have anything to do with that's your alma mater?
No, not really. No, I sometimes I forget where I graduated from. I'm old. I had a few concussions myself, so that's the way it goes.
Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations to you, your assistants, and all these young men that don the orange and blue.
Great. Thanks, Doug.
Great pace. 5 TDs. That ties for first in a single game. Actually, there was somebody other than Ralph Rucker who threw for 5 touchdowns in the 140 years history of Buckdale. You mentioned this too, Kevin. 405 yards, second most in a single game. Ralph also has the first one. And Milligan was your favorite target here today, Ralph. But, you did so much on the ground on that last drive, including a play we haven't seen all year with that fake to Thomas, and then you skirt around right in. Talk about that one. That was a big play.
Yeah, it was just, a play that gets takes the stress off. Takes the stress off the O lineman. Get us in the flat. Give us, speed option as well as an ability to throw the ball, just to give the O lineman up there a little softer for him.
I tell you, the offensive line may have been the most challenging defensive front, whatever, not just the linemen, but everything in the first 3 games. Those guys at VMI, they throw the kitchen sink at you, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They got every sort of variation of blitz. It's the most unconventional defense that I've ever played against, but that's why they do. They try to confuse us, but we did a good job, Dave, identifying what they were doing and then communicating within ourselves and ultimately executing.
You really started to look towards Sam Milligan's way towards the last third of last year. What did you see in Sam in practice that ended up translating to games, and then continued on here in this first 3 games of this year?
Yeah, Sam's just a guy that I can trust, and that's the biggest thing for me day in and day out. He's one of the hardest working guys I know. He's always asking to get the extra rep, and chemistry is a big thing on and off the field. He's one of my good buddies that we do a lot of things off the field, and then on the field, I trust him. I know where he's going to be. He knows where I expect him, and vice versa. So it's just a good relationship that hopefully we continue to grow and continue to execute at a high level.
I don't know how much you can see back there with linemen all at your feet, and you see something, but if you did see, was there one in particular touchdown reception that Sam had today that you thought, wow, that was pretty impressive?
Yeah, I think obviously the last one there in the end of the game where he kind of toe tapped it in. I threw that blind, to be honest. I had a free rusher on me, and I kind of got hit. I had to throw it a little earlier than I wanted to. But like I said, man, trusting Sam and his trust in me, my trust in him, knowing where I know or knowing where he's going to be and where I expect him to be. All the hard work that we've done in the spring and through the last couple of years. It's paying off now, and hopefully we continue to pay off.
People don't know this. You were really beaten up after that Marist game and the Air Force game before. You just have so much. You're so tough. You're a wrestler in high school. Is that kind of your wrestling background?
Yeah, I just think, when I get out on the field, it's tough during the week. It's obviously recovering and doing what you need to do. But when you get on the field, it's just a different type of high, and you get in the mindset of, win, and you kind of get tunnel vision. And Sam is very similar in that way, and I think that's why we work well together. But yeah, I think that's the big thing, just getting in that mindset, that tunnel vision, and not never quitting.
Why'd you come back to Bucknell this year? Is it games like today?
Oh, absolutely. Being able to play with guys like Sam, TJ, John O'Negan, Josh Curry, Nate Anderson, being able to start what I finished here, finish what I started here, excuse me, and with this group and with Coach Chick, keeping my word to this program and this university, and that's why I did it.
We're thankful you did, Ralph. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
This guy to my left was a wrestler in high school, Sam Milligan. You've wrestled quite a few footballs away the last year and a half out there. How do you translate? I mean, even then, wrestlers aren't quarterbacks, aren't receivers. They usually be linemen if they're going to be both in college. What about you? How do you translate your wrestling, along with playing football and baseball in high school, to what you do as a receiver?
Well, I think obviously like hand fighting, it's great. It's a great way to kind of develop that, fighting at the line, at the catch point. If I can use one hand to clear both of his, and then I have a hand, or in some cases 2 hands free, how to go catch the ball. But I also think most of it, and I've said this kind of for a while, I think the best thing I ever did in my life was wrestle. I think once you've wrestled, and there are a lot of guys that have said this, but I think once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of some of the hardest things I've ever done have been wrestling. So I think, like Ralph was saying earlier, when I get out here, it's a lot easier to just relax, go have fun, go play the game I love with the guys I love. Like it's awesome. You're not even thinking. It's great.
You really came on in practice a couple of years ago, but you really came on towards the last third of last year in games. What clicked? What was the difference?
I think just being kind of more detailed in practice, trying to make sure I earn the reps. And I think that one of the things that I've kind of taken over mentally is making sure I have to earn the right for the football. So if I'm getting the ball, if Ralph is willing to throw me the football, I need to go get it. Every time the ball's in the air, that's him putting his faith in me. That's the 5 linemen that are blocking. They're doing all this just so that I get the chance to catch the football. So I think when you think about it that way, and like I said, I mean, it's a team effort. It really is. And so I think when you have opportunities to kind of capitalize on what everybody else in the team is doing well, I think you have to go make a play. And I think that's kind of one of the things that's allowed me to relax and to kind of just realize, I mean, playing receiver is easy. That's like one of the least physical positions on the field. So I love it, and I think it's a great way to kind of try to show my appreciation for my teammates.
Ralph alluded to it, and I don't know if everybody listening caught it. You were also beaten up last two games, really tough for you, but you just are soldiering through it. How important is that just to continue, because you know you're going to have aches and pains throughout the rest of this year?
Well, like I said, again, receiver is not the most physical position, so I know I'm banged up. I know every single guy on the offensive line and D-line is banged up, and I think any football player will tell you this, especially anybody that's played Division I football. I mean, you're never 100%. You're never going to be. So to hope for that is kind of doesn't make any sense. And so I think it's just another way to be like, hey, these guys are working. They're working their butts off. They're doing everything they can to get right. So I need to make sure that I'm out there, like I said, to make sure that all their efforts pay off.
Ralph had his pick for what his mind was your best catch. Was that also your pick, that touchdown that ended up giving Bucknell the lead the last couple of minutes?
I mean, winning's always fun. So I think that's obviously, I love winning. I think that scoring late in the game obviously feels more like it had more to do with the win. But I kind of felt, and I kind of just felt like I was very calm today out there. And I wasn't thinking about really anything I did, at least at the catch point. I thought I was relaxed, and that's something that I haven't felt a ton of. Like, I felt it in spurts, but not a ton of. And I think feeling that today was really cool and really exciting. So.
Well, you were really excited. Before we let you go, you get a shower and stuff here, Sam. I tell you what, next week's going to be a challenge for sure, but a great opportunity against last year's champ Lehigh. Bucknell was able to win at Lehigh last year. It's a good defense that the Mountain Hawks will bring into Christie, right?
Yeah, it's a great defense. It's also championship week #1. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. We got 7 shots this year with Richmond coming in. So every single week against Patriot League team is a championship week, and it's got to be a championship effort. Scout team's going to show up. They're going to give us the looks that we need, and kind of if we get that, I think we should be in a good position to play a good football game. So
I know you're going to be in a good position because you are a champion. Sam, congrats! Great game, great win.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.